Welcome to the Elite Iconic English. I'm Amelia, your host for today's episode. Are you ready to improve your English listening and writing skills? Today, we will listen to some real-life stories that will help you understand everyday English better. Listening to stories like these not only trains your ears, but also gives you ideas for your own writing. If you enjoy this episode, please press the like button to support our channel. And if you are new here, we upload videos every day to help you improve your English step by step. Let's start with a question for you. Have you ever faced a problem that seemed small, but turned into something big? Or maybe you made a decision that changed your day completely. Think about that as we listen. Here is a story about David, a software engineer. One morning, he was rushing to catch the bus, but forgot his wallet at home. Without it, he couldn't pay for the bus ticket. Instead of getting upset, David decided to walk. On his way, he met an old friend, Sarah, who was also walking. They talked and caught up on their lives. Because of this unexpected delay, David found himself feeling happier and less stressed that day. This story teaches us that sometimes problems bring new opportunities. Now try to imagine David's feelings during this event. What words would you use to describe how he felt? Write down 3 words, and later you can check their meanings and use them in your own writing. Here is another story, this time from Maria, a teacher. Last week, Maria prepared a big lesson plan for her class. She spent many hours working on it. However, when she arrived at school, the projector was broken. Instead of stopping her lesson, she used pictures and a whiteboard to explain the topic. Her students loved it and said the lesson was even more interesting than usual. This story shows us the importance of being flexible and creative when things do not go as planned. What would you do if you were Maria? Have you ever had to change your plans suddenly? Think about it and try to describe your experience in a few sentences. This exercise will help improve your writing skills. Now, let me share a short example. From my life. Last month, my husband and I wanted to go to a new restaurant. When we arrived, it was fully booked. We decided to try a small cafe nearby instead. To our surprise, the food was delicious and the atmosphere was cozy. Sometimes, unexpected changes can lead to better experiences. Remember, listening carefully to these stories will help you hear natural English and understand different ways people speak. After the episode, you can try to write your own story or summary about one of these examples. This practice will improve both your listening and writing skills. Let's do a quick quiz. In David's story, what problem did he face, and what was the positive result? And in Maria's story, what was the challenge, and how did she solve it? Answering these questions will test your understanding and help you remember the stories better. Keep listening, keep practicing, and soon you will notice your English skills getting stronger every day. Now, let's listen to one more story about kindness and patience. John, a bus driver, once helped an elderly woman who was confused about the bus route. Instead of rushing, he patiently explained everything and even helped her find the right stop. Because of his kindness, she felt safe and grateful. Think about someone you know who showed you kindness recently. How did it make you feel? Try to write a few sentences describing this experience. Let's continue, and thank you for staying with me. Listening to real-life stories helps you hear how people use English in everyday situations. Now, here's another one for you. This is a story about Emma. Emma works at a bakery in her town. One day, a customer came in just before closing time. He looked tired and worried. Emma smiled and asked how she could help. The man said he needed a cake for his daughter's birthday, but he had forgotten to order one. Emma quickly checked what was left and offered to decorate a plain cake with a birthday message. The man was so happy and thankful. Emma said it made her day to help someone, even in a small way. Now ask yourself, what would you have done if you were Emma? Would you stay a little longer to help? Or would you close the shop and go home? These small choices show kindness and responsibility. Listening to this kind of story helps you learn vocabulary about daily life and how people talk in real situations. Now let's hear a story about Tom. Tom is a plumber. One afternoon, he went to fix a pipe at Mr. and Mrs. Brown's house. While working, he noticed that their kitchen tap was also leaking, even though they didn't mention it. Tom asked if they wanted him to fix it too. They agreed and later said they really appreciated his honesty and care. Tom didn't do it just for money. He did it because he wanted to help. What can we learn from Tom's story? Think of words like honest, helpful, and responsible. These are simple, clear words that you can use in your own writing. Try to write a short paragraph about someone you know who helped others without being asked. Now, here's something from my life again. Last weekend, my husband and I went to visit an old neighbor, Mr. Clark. He is almost 80 years old and lives alone. We brought him some homemade soup and helped him clean his garden. He told us stories about his younger days and gave us great advice about life and family. It reminded me how much we can learn from older people just by listening and spending time with them. Do you have someone in your life like Mr. Clark? Maybe a grandparent or a kind neighbor. Listening to their stories is not only interesting, it also helps you practice your English listening skills. Let's go to another real story. Sarah is a nurse who works night shifts at the hospital. One night she saw a new nurse, Daniel, struggling to complete a report. Even though Sarah had just finished her own work, she stayed and helped Daniel learn how to do it properly. Later, Daniel thanked her and said he felt more confident after that. Helping others at work is something we all face. Can you think of a time when someone helped you at work or school? What did they do? How did it help you? Writing about real situations like this can make your writing more meaningful and personal. Now, a quick review question for you. What did Emma do for the customer? And what did Sarah do to help her co-worker Daniel? Try to answer using full sentences. This will help you practice sentence structure and vocabulary. This story is about Mark. Mark is a delivery driver. One rainy day, he was driving to deliver a package to Mrs. Wilson's house. When he arrived, he saw that the sidewalk was very slippery. He carefully helped Mrs. Wilson bring her groceries inside to make sure she did not fall. Mrs. Wilson was very grateful and thanked him warmly. Mark felt good because he did more than just deliver a package. He showed kindness and care. Think about Mark's actions. What words would you use to describe him? Maybe kind, careful, or thoughtful. Try to write a few sentences about a time when you helped someone in your daily life. This will help you practice writing with simple, useful words. Here is a story about Lucy, a school librarian. One day, a young student named James came looking for a book about animals. Lucy helped him find the perfect book and even suggested some others he might like. James was very happy and thanked Lucy for her help. Because of her kindness, James began visiting the library more often and reading more books. What do you think made Lucy's help special? How did she make James feel? Write a short sentence or two about a time when someone helped you find information or learn something new. Now I will share a short experience from my own life. Last week, my husband and I went to the local market. We met a man named Mr. Evans, who sells fresh vegetables. He explained where his vegetables come from and gave us advice on how to choose the best ones. Talking with Mr. Evans. Have you ever talked to someone who taught you something useful? What was it? Try writing a few sentences about that experience to improve your writing. Here is one more story for today. Michael is a firefighter. One afternoon, he helped a family whose house caught fire. He worked carefully and quickly to keep everyone safe. After the fire was out, Michael talked to the family and made sure they had everything they needed. The family was very thankful. How would you describe Michael's job? What words come to mind? You can practice writing by describing your dream, job, or a job you think is important. Let's review a little. What did Mark do for Mrs. Wilson? How did Lucy help James? And what was Michael's job? Try to answer these questions in complete sentences. This will help your English speaking and writing skills. Let's continue with a longer, detailed story to help you practice your listening and writing skills. Please listen carefully and try to imagine the situation clearly in your mind. After the story, I will ask you some questions that you can answer in writing. This will help you improve both your listening and writing in a natural and useful way. Today's story is about a man named Henry. Henry works as a building cleaner in a large office building in the city. He starts his work early in the morning, before most of the workers arrive. Every day, Henry carefully cleans the hallways, staircases, and offices. He doesn't just do the job quickly. He takes his time to make sure everything is neat and tidy. He even waters the plants near the windows, even though it is not part of his job. One day, a woman named Mrs. Parker, who works on the 3rd floor, noticed how clean her office always was. She left a note on her desk that said, "Thank you, whoever keeps this place so clean. Your hard work makes our day better." Henry saw the note during his shift. He smiled and felt proud of his work, even though no one sees him while he works. Someone noticed and appreciated what he did. The next day, Mrs. Parker brought a cup of tea and left it on her desk with another note that said, "This is for you. Thank you for everything you do." Henry was touched. He never expected such kindness. From that day on, they would sometimes meet in the hallway and say hello. It was a small thing, but it made Henry feel more connected to the people in the building. Now, I want you to think about Henry's story. He does a quiet job that many people don't notice, but when someone said thank you, it made a big difference. Have you ever done something kind or helpful, and someone said thank you? How did that make you feel? Can you write a few sentences about that experience? Even if it was a small thing, it still matters. Let's move on to another real-life story. This one is about Grace, a young woman who works at a post office in a small town. One afternoon, a man named Mr. Thomas came in. He looked confused and worried. He said he needed to send an important document to his son, but he did not know how to fill out the form. Grace could have just told him to read the instructions, but instead, she took her time to help him. She walked him through each step, explained the form in simple words, and made sure everything was correct. Mr. Thomas thanked her again and again. Later that week, he returned to the post office and told Grace that the document had arrived safely and everything went well. He said he was very grateful for her help. Grace felt proud. She realized that doing her job kindly and patiently had a real effect on someone's life. Even though she helps many people every day, this moment stayed with her. Now I want you to think about the way Grace handled the situation. She was not only doing her job, she also showed patience and care. Do you know someone like Grace? Someone who helps others with kindness and doesn't expect anything in return. Try to write a short paragraph about that person. Describe what they did and how it made others feel. Let me now share something from my own life. Last winter, I went to visit my friend Helen, who lives in the countryside. It was a cold and rainy day. On the way there, I saw a man pushing his bicycle. One of the tires was flat, and he looked tired and cold. I stopped and asked if he needed help. He said yes. I called my husband, who came with a pump and some tools. Together, we helped the man fix his tire. He smiled and said, "I was not sure what to do. Thank you for stopping. I didn't do it for a reward. I just thought, if I were in his place, I would want someone to help me too." Later that evening, I told Helen about it, and we talked about how even small acts of kindness can mean a lot. It reminded me how we should always look for chances to help others, even when we're busy or in a hurry. So now I want you to think, have you ever helped someone you didn't know? Maybe you gave directions, carried something heavy, or shared your umbrella. Write a few sentences about that moment. How did the person react? How did it make you feel? Before we continue to the next story, let's do a short review. In Henry's story, how did Mrs. Parker show her appreciation? In Grace's story, what made Mr. Thomas feel thankful? And in my own story, what did we do to help the man with the bicycle? Try to answer in full sentences. This practice is very important. It will help you organize your thoughts clearly and improve your writing step by step. Thank you for listening carefully. Now, I will share a longer story that will help you practice your English listening and writing skills. Please listen closely to the details. After the story, I will ask you some questions that you can answer in writing. This will help you use new vocabulary and build your confidence in English. This story is about a man named Robert. Robert works as a bus driver in a busy city. Every day, he drives many people to their work, school, and other places. Robert's job is important because he helps people get where they need to go safely and on time. One morning, it was very cold and snowy. The roads were slippery and the traffic was heavy. Robert was very careful while driving. Suddenly, he saw a woman standing at the bus stop. She was holding a small child and looked worried. Robert stopped the bus near her and opened the door. The woman told Robert that she had missed the previous bus and needed to get to the hospital quickly because her husband was sick. Robert did not hesitate. He helped her and the child get on the bus and promised to drive as safely and quickly as he could. During the ride, Robert talked to the woman to keep her calm. He told her the hospital was not far and that everything would be okay. When they arrived, the woman thanked Robert with tears in her eyes. She said his kindness and patience helped her feel better in a very difficult time. Robert felt happy to help. He knew his job was not just about driving a bus, but also about caring for the people who use it. He often thought about that day because it showed him how small acts of kindness can make a big difference in someone's life. After work, Robert wrote a short note to his manager about what happened. His manager praised him for being thoughtful and caring. Robert's story teaches us many important words, like patient, kind, careful, and helpful. Now I want you to think about this question. What would you do if you were in Robert's place? How? Would you help someone in an emergency? Try to write a few sentences answering this question. Use simple words to explain your ideas. This will help you practice writing about real situations. Here is another story for you. This one is about a woman named Anna. Anna works as a teacher in a small school. One day, a new student named Jack joined her class. Jack was shy and nervous. He did not speak much English and found it hard to understand the lessons. Anna noticed this and decided to help him. She spent extra time after school every day for a week to teach Jack new words and explain the lessons more slowly. She used pictures and simple examples to make learning easier. Slowly, Jack started to feel more confident. He began to speak more in class and even made some friends. Anna was very proud of him. She told the class that learning a new language is not easy, but with patience and practice, anyone can improve. Jack later said that Anna's help changed his life, and made him love going to school. Think about Anna's story. She showed kindness and patience, just like Robert. Helping others is a powerful way to learn and grow. Can you write a short paragraph about someone helped you learn something new? How did that help you? Use simple language and full-type sentences. Now I will share something from my own experience. Last month, I helped my husband prepare a big family dinner. We invited our neighbors, the Harris family, to join us. Mr. Harris is a retired teacher, and Mrs. Harris enjoys cooking. We spent the whole afternoon cooking different dishes together. While we cooked, Mr. Harris told us stories about his school days, and Mrs. Harris taught me a recipe for a delicious vegetable soup. It was a warm and happy afternoon. We all laughed and talked about many things. This experience reminded me how sharing time with others helps us practice speaking and listening in English. It also helps build friendships. I want you to think about your family or friends. Have you ever cooked or prepared something together? Write a few sentences about that experience. How did it feel to work with others? This is a good way to practice. Writing about daily life. Let me tell you one more story about David. David is a mechanic who fixes cars. One day, a woman named Laura called David because her car would not start. David went to her house and found that the battery was dead. He explained to Laura what the problem was and fixed the battery quickly. Laura, what words would you use to describe David? Maybe helpful, kind, or fast. Try to write a few sentences about someone you know who helps others in their job. Describe what they do and how they help. Before we continue, let's review. What did Robert do for the woman and her child? How did Anna help Jack? What was special about my family dinner with the Harris family? And what did David do to help Laura? Try to answer these questions in full sentences. This will improve your speaking and writing skills. Now, let's continue with more helpful and interesting stories to improve your English listening and writing skills. Remember, the more you listen to real stories like these, the more confident you will become in using English in your everyday life. Each story uses simple and clear language, so you can follow along easily. You can also pause and repeat parts to better understand them. Try to imagine the scenes and people in your mind. This will help you remember new words and expressions. After listening, you can write about your own life using similar words and sentences. Today's story is about a man named Thomas. Thomas works at a bakery in a small town. Every morning, he wakes up at 5 o'clock to prepare bread and cakes for the shop. He starts by checking the ingredients. He needs flour, sugar, eggs, and butter. He mixes everything carefully and puts the dough into the oven. The smell of fresh bread fills the air. Customers love coming to his shop early in the morning to buy warm bread and pastries. One day, a woman named Lisa came into the bakery. She looked tired and a little worried. Thomas greeted her with a smile and asked if she needed help. Lisa said she was on her way to visit her husband in the hospital. She wanted to bring him something fresh to eat. Thomas listened kindly and said he had just baked some soft bread and sweet buns. He packed a small bag and said it was a gift from the bakery. Lisa was surprised and touched. She thanked Thomas many times. Later that week, Lisa returned to the bakery with her 2 children. She said her husband was feeling better and had enjoyed the bread very much. She told Thomas that his kindness gave her hope on a hard day. Thomas smiled and said he was happy to help. From that day, Lisa and her family became regular customers. Thomas always greeted them with warmth and care. Think about this story. What words can you use to describe Thomas? Maybe kind, thoughtful, or helpful. Can you write a short paragraph about someone who does their job with care and helps people? This could be a shopkeeper, a teacher, a nurse, or anyone you know. Now let me tell you another story. This one is about a woman named Sarah. Sarah is a postal worker. She walks many miles every day to deliver letters and packages. She knows everyone in the neighborhood. People trust her because she always does her job well. One day, Sarah saw an elderly man named George standing outside his house. He looked confused. Sarah stopped and asked if he was okay. George said he had received a letter, but he could not read it well. His eyes were not strong anymore, and he was feeling a little lost. Sarah asked if she could help. George handed her the letter, and she read it to him slowly. It was a letter from his daughter, who lives in another city. She had written about her family, her work, and how much she missed him. George smiled as he listened. He said it made him feel close to his daughter again. Sarah promised to read him any letters he received in the future. George thanked her kindly and said she had made his day much better. From that time, Sarah made sure to check on George every week. Sometimes she brought him a small snack or helped him with his mail. Sarah's story teaches us how simple actions can mean a lot to someone. Listening, helping, and being patient are powerful ways to show care. Think about someone who helped you in a small way. Maybe they explained something clearly, helped you with directions, or gave you good advice. Can you write a few sentences about that moment? Try to use simple and complete sentences. Now I want to tell you about my neighbor, Mr. Andrew. He is a retired firefighter. Every Saturday, he teaches children in the neighborhood about safety. He shows them how to stay safe at home, what to do in case of a fire, and how to call for help. One day, a little girl named Emily came running to Mr. Andrew's house. She said her kitchen was full of smoke. Mr. Andrew ran to her house and helped her family turn off the stove. Thankfully, no one was hurt. After that, Mr. Andrew gave a special lesson about how to use the kitchen safely. He showed pictures and used easy words so everyone could understand. Many parents thanked him for helping their children learn. Now, even the youngest kids know how to stay calm and safe in an emergency. Mr. Andrew's lessons made the whole neighborhood feel more prepared.